now. Welcome to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld. I'm really happy to be back here with Doc Wallach and friends. And we have another very exciting program today because Doc has some new products out there on the market. Doc, welcome. Welcome Carolyn and Jay and whoever else may be joining us. Doc, I'm going to spotlight you. And to start the program, why don't you just talk about some of the things that you have come up with that are new to longevity and to Vital Health News.
Okay, thank you very much, Alan, and thank you for everybody else who's on and all of our viewers and listeners. Of course, I have a unique background for the new people. Just take a minute to do that. I have a degree in agriculture. My major was in animal husbandry and nutrition. My minor was in field crops and soils. I have a degree in veterinary medicine. I have a postdoctoral fellowship, kind of like a PhD degree in pathology. It was a $25 million grant from NIH. Did 20,000 autopsies. My thesis is in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. I'm very proud of that because what I learned was there are no genetic diseases in humans or animals. Okay, there are no genetically transmitted diseases. There are no genetically transmitted birth defects. They're all nutritional deficiencies, except you get some birth defects from some viral infections early in pregnancy and some poisons and pharmaceuticals and things, but there are no genetic birth defects. And that's a tremendous value to the human population. You take your 90 essential nutrients for 3 to 6 months before pregnancy, and the odds are there'll never be another birth defect again. And then I do have a degree in naturopathic medicine, a primary care physician since 1982. And I see about 2 million patients a day throughout the world, 50 countries. And we deal with 600 different diseases. We have prepackaged programs for over 600 different diseases. And so we're all over the place. And I have my own 2 radio shows, and I do Zooms all over the place and so forth. So I really appreciate all the work you do, Alan, because communication, getting this word out is everything.
Thank you.
Now to be a little more specific, right now, of course, with this Black Lives Matters controversy going on here, I work so much with Black athletes, Evander Holyfield and Theo Ratliff and people like that, golfers, baseball players, football players, you name it. And I actually was working with Pastor Creflo Dollar up in Atlanta, Georgia. And his daughter was, he was told when his daughter was born, she had a genetic form of asthma and she'd be dead by the time she was 12. When she was 12 years old, she was having like 10 attacks a day and barely surviving. And the doctors told Pastor Dollar she'd be dead within a week or two. So they called me and they said, well, I know it's kind of late, but is there anything you can do for her? And I said, yeah, we can reverse that. And everybody got kind of quiet. And in 2 weeks' time, she was cured. Okay, got her off all the bad stuff, gave her the 90 essential nutrients, which I'll get into in a second. And she was cured in 2 weeks. So Pastor Dollar said, you got to give a lecture to my church. Okay, so I gave a lecture to the church and covered all the diseases said to be genetic in the Black population, you know, high blood pressure and diabetes and obesity and heart diseases and so on. And we're able to show that none of them are genetic and they're all just simple nutritional deficiencies. And here's the formula to get rid of them. And so Pastor Dollar actually says, look, you got to get this into the book. And so he paid for the first 10,000 copies of the book, Black Gene Lies. And of course, the CD was my lecture at his church, Black Gene Lies. Okay, right now, this is a big, big seller because there are no genetically transmitted diseases in any vertebrates, including Black people, okay? And so that's very exciting to be able to show that. That is a big pressure. Well, my dad had heart disease. Am I going to get heart disease? Well, no, not if you take your 90 essential nutrients, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 minutes, 3 fatty acids. We have a basic program we call the Healthy Start Pack. And that's the core of our program for over 600 different diseases, whether you're white or black or yellow or red, it doesn't matter. Or if you're an elephant or a porpoise or a snake or a fish or a dog or a cat or a cow, all vertebrates require these 90 essential nutrients to maximize their potential for health and longevity. your body has the capacity to maintain and repair itself, but it needs these raw materials to do it. Okay. And so when you look at some of the most common diseases, let's take Evander Holyfield, for instance. He'd been a heavyweight champion, gosh, for like 5 years, and he knocks everybody out in the first 3 rounds. And then he had a heart attack, and he had to surrender his championship because he had a heart attack. The doctor said, "You'll never fight again." So somebody introduced me to him, and it took me about 3 months' time, rebuilt him. He started training again, and he went back in the ring, and he had to box and fight to get his championship back. They're not going to give it to him, so he had to fight and get it back. He fought for 3 more years, defended his championship 3 times every year for 3 years, and knocked everybody out. And so these are the sort of things we do. We take people, Alan, who have not urinated in 10 years. They're on dialysis 6 days a week. We put them on our program for a kidney failure, and in 2 weeks' time, they're urinating, and in 6 weeks' time, they're totally off of dialysis after 25 years of being on dialysis and 10 years of being on dialysis 6 days a week because they weren't urinating. Right. We do this probably a couple hundred times a month. We get all these calls from people, I haven't urinated in 3 years, 7 years, 10 years, 12 years.
Well, let's start with that. So if people are having kidney, I guess, problems, you would say it is a deficiency, or go into what's wrong with them, or what's wrong with the body if they're on dialysis.
Okay. Well, you have to appreciate when you're on dialysis, there's nothing wrong with your kidney. That's a shocker to most people. Well, my blood test shows my kidneys are not filtering the urine. Well, that's absolutely true. But that's because they're not getting the urine. What happens is the arteries carrying the dirty blood into the kidneys get blocked, and they're not pumping the blood into the kidneys. So the blood tests show that they are not filtering the urine because they're not getting the urine. Your kidneys at that point will release a hormone called renin, R-E-N-I-N, to drive the blood pressure up to help drive the blood into the kidneys, and the kidneys start working. Okay. And so we came up with a program we call the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack for these sorts of things. And we throw in the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, 3 of those twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. And the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets are designed to support healthy blood pressure, but also support healthy blood flow through blocked arteries. And so just within days, after 10 years of not urinating, okay, 2 weeks, they're urinating again now, and they drop down from dialysis 6 days a week to 3 days a week. And then after 2 more weeks, they're totally off of dialysis after 25 years of being on dialysis because they didn't want to get a kidney transplant.
Are they missing a particular nutrient or a series of nutrients?
Well, they're missing mostly all of them. Now, here's why. I was going to get to that.
Okay.
In some cases, there'll be a disease where they're missing one nutrient, but I never tell them what it is because they need the other 89 for that one to work properly. Okay, if you just take that one, you'll die. Okay, it's kind of like saying, oh, don't waste your time putting oil in your car. Just put dirt from Texas in there. There's bound to be some oil in it. Well, even an insane person would laugh at that mechanic. But when a doctor says, oh, don't waste your money on vitamins, minerals, just eat well, you get everything you need. Well, that doctor should be put in jail. That's why we came up with our new DVD. It's called Is Your Doctor Killing You? And go into all these kinds of things where doctors just want to treat the symptoms because people are happy when their symptoms go away. And then they milk you in your insurance policy like a cow. Why would they want to cure you? They can't send their 3 boys through college if they cure you.
Right. No, I agree.
They do not want to cure you. They want to milk your insurance policy. That's why our new DVD is Your Doctor Killing You? Question mark. Well, can
Which
we go
is
into these examples?
It's a kind of a part 2 to what dead doctors don't lie.
That's correct. The only doctor that doesn't lie is dead.
Right. Right. Well, we have a couple of new people here. Jay, you're familiar with Doc, and Tom, I'll get to you too. Thank you for being here. Jay, any comments on what you've heard so far here, Jay?
Yeah, I want some.
You want some what?
I want the 90 essential nutrients. Where do I get it?
I am glad you asked that. I'll show you exactly where to get it. But Doc, tell them about longevity. If you're looking at your screen, call this number now, 888-275-7755. Ask for the Healthy Start Pack. But Doc created this company because he realized many things were missing. Doc, you want to go on to talk about this?
Yes, thank you. I might sneeze here in a second, but
Okay.
Woohoo! That was a good one.
That's my
Yeah.
cowboy sneeze. That's my cowboy sneeze. Okay. Um, this all started when I was 4 years old. When I was 4 years old, I had a disease that they didn't have a name for it yet. It's a terrible disease today, but back then they didn't have a name for it. I was sitting on the end of the bed and I'm saying, oh, wait a minute. We're eating the same food that the animals on their farm are eating. Okay, we're eating the same thing from the same garden that the animals are getting food from. Why is it they don't have the disease I've got? Okay, so the next day I started taking all the different animal foods and eating them. In 3 days' time, I was cured. After 5 years of getting worse and worse and worse, 20 doctors didn't know what to do, but in 3 days of eating animal food, I was cured. So at 9 years old, I knew that doctors didn't know much about these sort of things, and that people, and of course in the church, people noticed that. People were whispering and pointing at me because I wasn't slamming the hymn book and screaming and stomping and doing all the things to disrupt the services. And finally, after a month, this little old lady came up to me, and she had to be in her 80s. She said, I hear you can cure my diabetes. I said, ma'am, I'm a kid. I don't even know what diabetes is. But I went and looked it up. And it's a simple nutritional deficiency disease. Type 2 diabetes, which is 98% of the diabetics, is a simple nutritional deficiency disease. But people are happy when their blood sugar is down, okay, because it eliminates many of the complications of diabetes. But if you want to get rid of it, we have what we call the healthy blood sugar pack. And if you're on medication, your blood sugar is under control, you take your healthy blood sugar pack, you keep taking your blood sugar, and as your blood sugar drops, you reduce your medication based on the numbers. And when you get down into the normal range, you're not on the medicine anymore. You don't cold turkey off of it, okay? And we get literally thousands of people off their medication for type 2 diabetes every month. It's a very easy disease to get rid of in weeks. I don't care if you've had it for 30 years. I take people who've been a brittle diabetic for 30 years, and in 30 days it's gone. Their doctors throw up their hands and say, we don't know why, but you're not a diabetic anymore, because it's a simple nutritional deficiency disease. And then there are people who have terrible, terrible knee pain, and the doctor gives them cortisone and steroids and these drugs that are pain relievers, okay? And they instantly the pain's gone. Oh, I just love my doctor. I had joint pain for 20 years, and now in just 2 days he got rid of my pain. Well, 2 years later, he said, well, now it's time for a double knee replacement. These drugs won't work on you anymore. It's going to be $50,000 for each knee. If you don't have insurance, we'll let you pay it off over 10 years, but it's $50,000 per knee. Well, why would you do that when you can get rid of it in a couple of weeks with just changing your diet and a little bit of nutritional supplements? We have the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, and we throw in a couple of other things that actually help quickly regrow the cartilage and ligaments and tendons and connective tissue. I'll tell you one more story here, and then I'll throw it back to you, Alan. Right, and this is, there's a guy who is a legendary congressman from Baltimore, Maryland, okay? Elijah Cummings. He'd been a congressman there for, I don't know, 30, 40 years or something like that. Very, very, he was a Democrat, but even the Republicans loved him. He was quite the guy. And he developed what's called Afib, atrial fibrillation. Your heart jumps around and skips beats and so forth. And the medical, okay, my nose is dripping there. The medical treatment for this irregular heartbeat, Afib, atrial fibrillation, is to take a hot soldering iron, cut your chest open, and touch the heart muscle with the soldering iron and kill the part of the heart muscle that's going crazy. That's the medical treatment. It's actually caused by osteoporosis of the skull, where the 10th cranial nerve is being squeezed by the skull, and the 10th cranial nerve controls the rate and rhythm of the heart. So, anyway, they get this Elijah coming. Now we're talking about Johns Hopkins, very famous medical school, very famous hospital, okay, Baltimore, Maryland. They get him in the surgery room, they anesthetize him, they cut his chest open, take the soldering iron, and they murder him by killing his heart with a soldering iron. The doctors get a walk. The doctors get a walk. Now, Johns Hopkins, 3 months later, and this was like 6 weeks ago, they came out with a big study, the top 8 causes of death in American hospitals. Number 3 are medical errors.
Right.
The number 3 cause of death in hospitals is medical errors. each year in America, medical doctors in hospitals, now this doesn't count all the ones that are killed in private practices and clinics and so forth, but in hospitals alone, they kill 250,000 to 440,000 patients that are customers in their workplace from these medical errors. These doctors do not even get a parking ticket. That's why Is Your Doctor Killing You is our current well-documented, and this is so outrageous. The pharmacist that was interviewing me, it was a pharmacist who was interviewing me for this, right? Kind of hitting the heads here. And he went and looked up all the references I mentioned. He cut them out and put them in this Zoom video. And so when you see this DVD, you see these references right next to my head as I'm quoting the references.
And what's the name of that DVD again? The doctor, Your Doctor's Killing You.
Yeah, Is Your Doctor Killing You?
Yeah, and you can order also that on this number right here, but and along with the Healthy Start Pack and the rest of Longevity. But Doc, before I take questions from Tom and whoever else is on the call here, and Jay again, yes, people have a deficiency in a nutrient, but the reason they have a deficiency is really a key to your thesis.
Okay, there's two reasons why people are going to be deficient, and you can have both reasons or one or the other. Okay, absorption is everything. Okay, let's just quickly, I could use COVID as an example. 3-year-olds, when they get COVID, I wouldn't even call it a fever, but their body temperature goes up like a half a degree. It's not even a fever. Okay, and they get mild common cold-like symptoms for 3 to 5 days, then it's over with. They're perfectly healthy and no big deal. Right. When a 63-year-old or a 73-year-old or 83-year-old get COVID, they get serious complications and they die. Just like, let's see here, what's the name of this guy? Herman Cain. You know, he was the CEO of Godfather's Pizza, 74 years old. Yeah, he was diagnosed at the last day of June of this year with COVID. He's a billionaire. So they put him in the hospital, okay? And then 30 days later, he's dead. Now, he had pre-existing conditions. And why did he have pre-existing conditions? Because he'd been eating Godfather pizza, you know, for 50 years. And guess what? What's the pizza crust made out of? Gluten alert, gluten alert, gluten alert. And over a period of time, drip, 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 the gluten will destroy the lining of your small intestines. So finger-like villi go away. You lose 95 to 98% of the absorptive surface, and the surface actually changes into hard leather instead of the soft tissue, kind of like is in the lining of your mouth. And so you gradually, over time, lose the ability to absorb. And people will say, well, I've been eating oatmeal for breakfast for 50 years. Why am I getting a problem now? Well, I can tell you, because you have skin problems. You have eczema, you have dermatitis, you have psoriasis, you have irritable bowel syndrome, you have Crohn's disease. All these things are caused by nutritional deficiencies that are directly related to malabsorption from gluten. And so you have a gluten problem. And so that's why you have these things. They're not autoimmune. They're not genetic. You get off of gluten and you take the 90 essential nutrients, the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. If finance is an issue, you take the Healthy Start Pack, which is a basic core program, and all your diseases will go away in a couple of weeks.
So that's
my doctor said.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Now, my doctor said I can get everything I need just by eating well. Well, you can't, because 2/3 of the 90 essential nutrients, 60 of the 90 essential nutrients are minerals, and nutritional minerals do not occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth. They occur in veins like gold and silver. They occur in veins like coal. And so you can, one of these days I'm going to do this. I'm going to get a recipe for some dish for cooking beets or carrots or something like that. And I'm going to get beets from New York and Pennsylvania and Ohio and Michigan and Missouri and Arizona and California and Texas and Louisiana and Florida. And I'm going to do a mineral analysis of all these different beets. And I guarantee you there won't be 2 of those beets alike when it comes to the number and variety and amounts of the minerals in them.
Right.
So you can be eating the same recipe your grandmother ate and she lived to be 110. But unless you're supplementing, the odds are you're not going to live to be 110, because you're not going to get the same nutrients she did, because 100 years ago, what was the common fertilizer? Wood ashes out of the wood stove. People take the wood ashes out of the wood stove, the fireplace, throw them in the garden. And if you had 3 minerals in your wood that you burned, there's 3 minerals in those wood ashes. If you had 15 minerals in that wood that you burned, there'd be 15 minerals in wood ashes. If you had 25 minerals, and so on. And of course, There was a very famous New York Times reporter, investigative reporter in the 1920s, who was sent to Hunza, where the longest lived people on earth were. And there's this guy who's 265 years old. And New York Times said, there's no way that could be true. Go and expose this guy. So they sent their most vicious investigative reporter. His name was James Hilton. James Hilton. Okay. And he followed this guy for a year, fingerprinting him and all this other kind of stuff, and fingerprints from 50 years ago and 100 years ago, places he was supposed to be. Sure enough, he's 265 years old. Okay. So he writes up this article, and people were so interested in it. He wrote a book called Lost Horizon, became a big movie in 1933, Lost Horizon. And he invented a name called Shangri-La, which is a place where people live forever because they're eating certain minerals.
So the problem with aging and deficiency is that gluten has destroyed our small intestinal tract.
That's correct.
Villi. We can't absorb everything. And over time, your body then robs minerals it needs from, let's say, hair and bone. That's like why osteoporosis, to help, because unless you have your vital organs functioning, you're not alive. So we'll take the excess from the, hair, bone, teeth even, and use it for the vital organs. So what you have devised, yes, you have to, to start everything, you have to cut out gluten, because gluten just destroys absorption.
Yeah, why are you going to spend money for supplements if you can't absorb them?
Right.
Okay, so you get rid of bad foods, you take your 90 essential nutrients, and of course, then we have these secret sauces for over 600 different diseases. Okay. And I'll give you an example, another example. It just makes me cry. Okay. Let's go back to the year 3600 BC. Okay. There was a healer who was, drying plants, clovers and flowers and seaweed and stuff and giving them to sick people. And he noticed when he gave this dried seaweed to people with goiter, their goiter would go away. This was the year 3600 BC. And he wrote this up. And so for years, people knew if you ate seafood and you ate these sea plants, seaweed and algae and stuff, your goiter would go away and you'd prevent goiter. Well, in 1830s, some chemist did an analysis of the seaweed and found iodine in there. He says, it seems like it's the iodine in there that's, preventing goiter. In 1920, in New York City, they were the first ones to put iodine in salt, so they called it iodized salt. And when iodized salt came out, goiter was eliminated in the world. I mean, like almost overnight. Wow. But then when the Second World War came along, people got high blood pressure for a variety of reasons, primarily because of nutritional deficiencies, and they got goiter. And the doctors say, look, you got high blood pressure, you better give up salt. But they didn't say, be sure you take iodine to make up for what you're giving up here. And now goiter is a big world problem again because people gave up iodine when they gave up iodized salt. And every doctor who told their patients to give up salt should be put in jail for murder. Okay. And that's why is your doctor killing you? Okay. And so, and so this is why we have what we call Ocean's Gold, which we took all these sea vegetables from the same ones these guys were using in the year 3600 BC, dried them up. There's algae and seaweed and all kinds of other sea plants and things. And we put them into these pellets. I take 3 of those twice a day, and it's part of my 90 essential nutrients. I'm 81 years old, and I don't have any goiter.
Right. No, Doc, you have incredible bone density too. We'll get to that. Show him your wrist there, Doc. Yeah, 81. There he is. But let me still have it in you. Let me ask Tom, who's been with us since the beginning of the show. Tom, how does this all sound? And welcome to the show. What do you think?
Well, thank you. I was listening to Doc last night on Coast to Coast. I listen to all your programs whenever you come on Coast to Coast, and health is a hobby of mine because it
could be a profession, not a hobby. But okay.
I have a profession too.
Do you have a question you would like to ask?
I have a problem. Problem is Ankylosing spondylitis.
Okay, that's very easy. Ankylosing spondylitis is
Okay. What is
where you-
that? What is it? What is it, Doc? Can you explain the symptoms of it? And then what
Yeah,
is
the
it?
backbone, the lower backbone starts freezing up and squeezing the nerves off
Oh,
to where
yeah,
they
and
they
the vertebrae are kind of growing together.
yes.
Okay, and you get degenerative disc disease. The discs get thinner, the vertebrae get closer together, and they kind of weld together and so forth. Ankylosing spondylitis is called, kind of thing, and you start getting sciatica because you get squeezing of the sciatic nerves coming out of the lower part of the spinal cord in your low back. And then you get this numbness and tingling in the feet. It's one of these peripheral neuropathies, but the nerves being squeezed in your back. So you can put painkillers in your feet and it doesn't work. The doctor says, oh, we got to cut your nerves and do surgery. No, you can put some of our, what we call our CM cream with some trauma oil on there, our Soothe, SOOTHE, which is from CBD oil and herbs mixed together. No THC in it, so it's legal in all states. And then you take our Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, and you can gain 2 to 5 inches in height. The disc regrow, the bones regrow, take the pressure off. And there's another form of this in your skull and your neck when you get osteoporosis of the skull. This is my newest book. You can also get this, okay? It goes into the 25 different diseases you get when you have osteoporosis of the skull. One of them is called, historically used to be called Erb's palsy. That's ERB' palsy, named after a Dr. Erb. And he thought it was a autoimmune disease where the skull, but he didn't know why. He thought it was autoimmune disease, but people would get numbness and tingling and pain in their shoulders and arms and hands and wrists and fingers. And doctors would say, oh, you have Erb's palsy or maybe carpal tunnel syndrome. We can do some surgery on the nerves and all the pain will go away. Okay. Well, I've renamed it Wallach's palsy because it occurs. Erb's palsy actually is now Wallach's palsy, named after me. I named it myself. People say, well, that's pretty, arrogant. I said, well, he thought it was an autoimmune disease, and I didn't want it to go another 1,000 years mistakenly called an autoimmune disease. It was really just osteoporosis of the skull. And you have to appreciate that the spinal cord is formed in the brain. The spinal cord comes out of the big hole in the back of the skull called the foramen magnum, which is Latin for big hole, goes down your neck, down your upper back, your lower back, down your tailbone. Even doctors forgot that your spinal cord is formed in the brain. So when you have osteoporosis of the skull, the 12 pairs of cranial nerves are being squeezed, just like they did with Elijah Cummings, and he had his atrial fibrillation in his heart, the 10th cranial nerve. Tinnitus ringing in the ears, as the auditory branch of the 8th cranial nerve being squeezed. You get ONA, optic nerve atrophy, gradually going blind because the skull is squeezing the optic nerve. But when you have Wallach's palsy, the spinal cord is being squeezed, and so you're actually getting sciatica of the upper shoulder girdle and arms and wrists and so forth. And you can also get, when you have Wallach's palsy, you can also get a form of atrial fibrillation because the first 4 thoracic spinal nerves that come out of the spinal cord also control the rhythm and rate of the heartbeat. And so you can have 2 reasons why people will have Afib, osteoporosis of the skull, and degenerative disc disease. And so I always treat for both of those when people have Afib. It always goes away in 6 to 8 weeks, and you don't need surgery. Please don't let them kill you like they did Elijah Cummings.
so what are you saying for Tom to actually take for his spine?
Okay, well, I'd have him take, how much do you weigh, Tom?
155.
Okay, well, you're right on that cusp there. So get rid of all the bad stuff. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no extra virgin olive oil, no coconut oil, no MCT oils, no soy oils, no oils, no margarines, none of that kind of stuff. Okay.
I do take olive oil every day.
No.
It's the Mediterranean diet.
No. Well, you have to appreciate oils are what plugs your arteries. Cholesterol is your best friend. Cholesterol is not in plaque in your arteries, does not cause plaque in your arteries. Cholesterol does not cause heart disease. If you want to kill yourself, use oil every day. Use salad dressings made with oil. Okay?
I'm very healthy. People look at me and they say, you don't look your age.
Well, yeah, I know, but let's see. I want to know how long you live.
I take as many supplements.
I want to see how long you live. Let's see how long you live.
Cut out the oil, Tom. Just try Doc's advice for a week.
This is my last bottle.
Yeah, so I want you to make sure that you're checking your blood pressure every day. You need to do some non-radiation look at your coronary arteries, okay? You can, do a non-radiation, don't do x-rays, but there's all kinds of non-radiation ways to look and see if you have plaque in your arteries and stuff like that. Okay, you want to do that?
I take EDTA and everything that I can to go and keep the plaque out of my arteries.
Okay.
I was taking vitamin K2, MK7. That's when I really started noticing the pain, the problem with my lower back was when I was eating Gouda cheese every day.
So, Doc, what do you think?
I think our friend Tom here has been misled like everybody else in America. And what happens is you're feeling good, and then you get to be about 75.5, bam, and then you die. Okay, well, man, he was healthiest guy in church. What happened there? Oh, it was in his family. He's got a genetic form of heart disease, and it killed him. No.
My mother has all the problems I had too. She had them too, and then she did have a heart attack. And then
it's not genetic.
Yeah.
Well, that's why my thesis is in the Smithsonian Institute of Natural Treasure. You were going to get a heart disease because you're eating the same way your mom did, not because you got her genes. Okay, and so you have to really watch it. Now, let me finish up here. Okay, you're also going to need the MSM, which helps you rebuild the connective tissue, the disc between the vertebrae. A guy 150, 160 pounds, up to 200 pounds. I want you to take 6 of those a day. It's 2 with each meal, or 3 twice a day. I take 3 times a day myself. I only weigh 142. And then you also want to take vitamin D3. Take 3 of those at least twice a day. Well, I live in Florida. I live on the Gulf states. I live in Southern California. I get sun all the time. Really? Do you use sunblocker? Oh yeah, I have to use sunblocker because my doctor said I get skin cancer because it runs in my family.
I take 5,000 units of vitamin D3 every day, plus more.
Yeah, you need more.
I have my blood tested once every couple of years.
Doc, tell them that skin blocker is poison. Well,
yeah. Well, Tom's biggest the thing that's going to kill Tom is he talks too much. He doesn't listen. Okay, that's going to kill you, Tom, because you think you know everything. You don't say, "Well, Alan, you should say, well, that's controversial to what I learned, but I'll check it out." Okay. Instead of, I'm doing everything right. Okay.
I listen to other people. That's what I do. I'm very.
Well, how old are you, Tom, if you don't mind us asking you?
I'm almost 70. I'm 69. I'll be 70 in October.
Well, okay. Well, let's keep in touch. I want to know your birthday every year.
Okay.
So, because you're gonna be one of my stories.
I've been talking to Robin, one of your employees there. And I'll just order some of this stuff. I just need a little bit of a list to go and give her.
Oh, yeah, no, she knows. Yeah, she knows. Okay. She's been with me a long time. Yeah, Robin knows. Yeah, last night when I did George Norrie, we had 50 operators answering the phone. 50 operators answering the phone, and Robin was one of them.
She said she stayed up late.
Wait, yeah. So Tom, did you get the formula that Doc recommended for your back?
If he didn't get it all down,
but I take MSM already. Vitamin D3 I take already.
Yeah, those are 2 of the 90.
CBD oil.
Well, the first 2 you mentioned, okay, MSM and vitamin D3. Those are 2 of the 90. Okay, CBD oil has to do with pain relief. It's not an essential nutrient. Okay.
Okay.
But
healthy bone pack.
Well, it depends. Do you have any blood pressure issues? Any diabetes?
I do have pre-diabetes problems, just like my mom.
Okay. Okay. It's not genetic. Don't go there. Okay. Okay. So what you need to do also is throw in the sweeties. Take 3 of those twice a day. But you have to give up gluten. You have to give up your extra virgin olive oil. And for salad dressings, I want you to use lime juice or lemon juice or a gluten-free yogurt if you like creamy salad dressings. No salad dressings with oils in them. No margarines. No milk replacers. People say, well, think of all those poisons in the milk, they give the cows and everything. Well, there's camel milk and there's goat's milk and there's llama milk. You can get all that stuff. Even the Bible says the healthiest place on earth is the land flowing with
Milk and
Milk.
honey.
Milk and honey.
Okay, what's the first food that babies eat?
Milk.
Milk.
Yeah, breast milk, right. Okay. And if the mother, does drugs, it'll come through and drug the baby. But does that say that all mothers should give up breastfeeding, or should we give up milk to that baby because some mother's doing drugs? No. Milk is the ideal food.
I got a question. Flaxseed oil. How do you feel about that?
No oil.
Okay.
Why not? What's wrong with oil, Doc? Tell us.
It oxidizes and turns into trans fats, heterocyclamines, acrylamides, causes plaque in your arteries, causes heart attacks, causes cancer, causes cataracts, causes inflammation everywhere, okay, including in the lining of your intestine, along with the gluten issues. You're getting a double whammy, okay? No oils. A stick of butter a day keeps the doctor away. You want to take a stick of butter every day and eat it like a popsicle.
But
I've been listening to you for years, and I do go by your diet, with the no grains and no all that.
Well, grains
stuff.
are okay. Yeah, grains are okay, but it has to be rice.
Yeah,
Buckwheat, not wheat. Yeah, rice. You want to live like an Asian. No fried rice.
Right.
You can have white rice, wild rice, yellow rice, red rice, but no fried rice, because that's like saying, can I shoot myself in the head with a 22 and it's copper jacketed? You're still going to die.
Yeah, I ate a lot of rice cakes, and that's when I started coming up with the pre-diabetes problems.
No, that's because you're deficient in one of two nutrients, or maybe both nutrients.
Vanadil.
Type 2 diabetes is a deficiency of nutrients. It could be two minerals or one, either one of those two or both of them, okay? I take people who are brittle diabetics. They've had their feet amputated. They're gone blind. They have all kinds of other side effects of their brittle diabetes, and in 30 days, they're next diabetic. Their doctors throw their hands up there and say, I don't know why, but you're not a diabetic anymore, Frank. He said, well, I'm taking this vitamin mineral stuff. Don't tell me about it. Get out of the office.
I've been doing intermittent fasting quite a bit, and that seems to help.
Well,
yeah, because you're not taking in any sugar.
Yeah. I'm not taking in anything.
How many minerals do you take in when you're fasting, Tom?
None, but I do put it in my coffee. I do drink coffee, and I do put the concentrated trace minerals in my coffee.
Okay, but if you're pre-diabetic or have reactive hypoglycemia or narcolepsy or diabetes, I would throw in the sweeties. Okay, if you have other issues, definitely you want to add the sweeties to your other packs. We do have one. If your pre-diabetes is your only health issues you think you have, you take what we call the healthy blood sugar pack.
I will buy the sweeties. And do that too. Yeah,
Robin will tell you what to do.
I just wanted to tell you quick about the MSM. I was having angina pains under my arms, and I realized eventually that MSM fixed it. So I started taking MSM on a regular basis every day.
Okay, right. Thank you for the testimony. Yep. Because MSM rebuilds tendons and ligaments and discs between the vertebrae.
Well, my blood was clotting like clumps of grapes, and when I took the MSM, it frees it.
Now stop right there. That's another issue. The most common cause of death when people die when they have COVID is blood clotting issues. Why is that? Because they've been on a high gluten diet, okay, for 30, 40, 50 years. They can't absorb nutrition, so their bone marrow is dead. So their bone marrow is not making any more platelets, or they have extremely low platelets. You want to look at the last blood test you had. If you haven't had a blood test in 5 years, get a blood test. And then next time I'm on with Alan or on with George, call in and say, Doc, you were right. My platelets, I'm only 50% of what they're supposed to be, or 20% of what they're supposed to be. Okay. And this is why people have to go in once a month to get a B12 shot and an iron shot, because they can't absorb the nutrients necessary for their bone marrow to make platelets and red blood cells and white blood cells and antibodies.
So if Tom took your whole formula, how long would it take for him to correct his lower back spinal problem?
Well, if he gives up all the bad foods, he could see benefit within 2 weeks. And totally repaired within 90 days or even quicker. It could be 60 to 90 days. Same way with this prediabetes. Anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, the prediabetes will be gone.
I've been listening to you for years, and I have been adjusting to your diet. And I don't eat gluten. I don't no oatmeal anymore and none of that.
Okay, good.
Why are you on the Mediterranean diet then?
Well, first off, olive oil. It turns on a gene. It turns on a gene that allows our body to create vitamin C itself, because we're an animal that doesn't create vitamin C.
Doc has an answer for that. Go ahead, tell him, Doc.
Well, that's what the 90 essential nutrients are for. That's what oranges and lemons and limes are for. Okay. And so the people who told you that if you take, olive oil, it'll help your body make vitamin C. That's a science we call crapola.
Yeah.
It's crapola.
How do you feel about hydrogen water? Because I have some pills that create the hydrogen in the water from Dr. Mercola. Icelandic water, yes.
Okay.
Water.
We have a lock on it. Okay. It's high in hydrogen. Okay. It's high in, it's got like 60 different minerals in it. Okay. Because, Iceland is the land of fire and ice with all the glaciers and grinding up the rocks. The Icelandic people live 6 to 10 years longer than Americans do because of all the minerals they get in their water. So we got a lock on the water, and I make my, what we call our juju, as a witch would say. I make my juju here. I put all my powders for my Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and other stuff, my Rebound and everything like that in here. Okay. So I'm getting 225 nutrients in here, but instead of just putting it into tap water or filtered water or any other kind of water, we use our Icelandic water. So we're getting, that's how it works. And again, I want to keep in touch with you every month for sure. And
invited on the call every month.
You're fading
There you
out
go.
a little bit, locking up there, but I want to keep in touch with you just like I have been for years.
okay, let's do it.
On Coast to Coast.
So you can order the Icelandic water at Longevity, Doc?
We lost you.
That's correct. It's the only place in America you can get it.
All right. So without the Mediterranean diet, was it just the oil that put you on the Mediterranean diet, or did you have other things that wanted you?
I eat salads, like organic green leafy vegetables.
That's probably okay, right, Doc?
No, let me, now the Mediterranean diet started with who? The Italians. Now, when you look at the Italians, when the COVID thing first came out last year, even yet today, the highest percentage of deaths per number, per 100,000 infected, the Italians are number one. They have 10% of the people who get COVID in Italy die, 10%. The Germans have the lowest rate, 0.5%, 0.5%. And what's the difference? And their neighbors, they touch each other. So what's the difference between COVID in Italy and COVID in Germany? Well, the Italians, everything they eat is the Mediterranean diet. Oh, let's see here. They don't eat cauliflower crust on their pizza. They don't use rice noodles. They have spaghetti. They have mustacholi, okay? They have bread. They have croutons and all that kind of stuff. Gluten alert. Now, have you ever heard of German potato salad? The Germans
my mother made it.
Yeah, the Germans live on potatoes, corn, and rice. And that's why their death rate from COVID is 0.5%. And that's the reason why the Italians have the highest death rate, 10%, because all they eat is gluten.
Yeah, I stopped the pizza and the spaghetti and all that years ago.
You can have pizza, but it's got to have a cauliflower gluten-free crust. If you're going to drink beer, it's got to be Japanese or Chinese beer made from rice.
I don't drink beer.
Well, drink wine. It's made from grapes and berries.
I don't drink wine. I don't drink any alcohol or do any drugs. I don't do that.
Well, if anybody gives you a bottle of wine, give it to me.
Okay.
Well, so Tom, stick around. We do this the second and fourth Wednesday of every month. Let's just take a question from Jay, and then we'll go to Annalisa and Sonia. Jay, jump in.
Yeah. Hi, I want to know about MTC oil. You mentioned don't take that generally and speaking as an oil, or is there some particular reason about MTC oil?
MCT, yeah, MCT oil, yeah, no oils. Medium chain triglycerides, okay? No oils, okay? Because they turn into trans fats, heterocyclamines, and acrylamides, which cause cancer. They cause plaque in your arteries. They cause heart disease. They actually contribute to Alzheimer's disease and dementias. They will contribute to ED, erectile dysfunction. You do not want oil.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. So what about this information about coconut oil gets the brain working better? And
is coconut oil?
Yes, I'm not saying it's not oil. I'm asking you what is the coconut oil does that people report that their brain works better. Dementia people turn around in 3 weeks on coconut oil. Those stories, have you heard those?
Yes, but I want to know how long they live.
Well, that's another question.
You can take the worst possible crap on earth and it'll make you feel better. And then 3 weeks later, you're dead.
Got it.
Oh, yeah, man. I just take those.
I was happy at the end.
I was happy at the end. Yeah, see, that's the problem. People are happy with symptom relief. Doctors are happy with symptom relief because then they can they'll milk your insurance policies. See, we don't have insurance policies for animals. We have life insurance for expensive racehorses, but we don't have health insurance. So every farmer would go bankrupt if they had to pay a veterinarian to come out there every week to deal with arthritis in cows and bulls and sheep and pigs and chickens. And so we learned that if we put all these supplements in their food, that's why we give them alfalfa pellets so they can't separate the stuff out. Remember, I told you when I was 4 years old, I started getting violent. And by the time I was 9, I was going to be institutionalized. And I started eating these animal pellets. And in 3 days' time, I was cured because I was getting all those nutrients I wasn't getting in those 5 years before that.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm asking this is about memory, about dementia, I have very little short-term memory a lot of times.
Well, let me tell you a quick story about dementia. This is a guy by the name of Ray McGregor from Charlotte, North Carolina. His sister called me about 12 years ago. And at that time, she told me he'd been in a coma for 8 years. And 3 years before that, he was being treated with pharmaceuticals for Alzheimer's disease. And 3 years into it, he goes into a coma. He's been fed through his G-tube, these canned oily meal replacers, and he was given IV electrolytes. Every day for 8 years, he was in this coma. Well, by this time, now his brain waves are just about zero, and they're going to pull the plug on him. His sister calls me and says, "Can you help my brother, Ray?" I said, "Yeah. I'm going to tell you what to do, but then I want you to call me every 2 weeks and give me a report." She says, "You're on." I said, "You're going to have to do this. This nursing home is not going to do this." No, they want to pull the plug. So we talk them into 90 days. We'll get started. I want you to use our shake, get our Youngevity protein shake, but instead of making it with water, I want you to make it with heavy cream. I also want you to put 3 soft-boiled eggs in each one of these 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, into this shake with the heavy cream. Blend up these soft-boiled eggs and put them in there. Then I want you to get 3 per month of the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and give them a full dose of everything at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. De-stress capsules, 3 of those in each of those meals. The Ultimate Niacin Plus, 1 of those in each meal. And then Synaptive, which helps the brain cells talk to each other. I want you to have 3 of those with each meal. And then call me every 2 weeks. 3 days later, she calls me and she is wailing and screaming and crying. I said, "How's your brother Ray doing?" She says, "Well, he got up this morning. He thought he was only asleep one night. He gets dressed, shaves, goes to the bank. He was a bank officer before he went into that coma 8 years ago."
Wow.
And so all the people there at the bank thought he was some kind of clever robber trying to pretend he's a bank officer because they weren't there when he went into the coma 8 years earlier. And and so just in 3 days' time on the supplement program, we were able to give his brain what it needed. Now there's 8 different dementias. Now Alzheimer's disease didn't come along until about 1950. All the other dementias go back to Bible days. They're all nutritional deficiency diseases, all different deficiency diseases. Alzheimer's disease is a deficiency of a single nutrient. Alzheimer's disease, it's created by doctors, because they believe falsely that cholesterol caused plaque in your arteries. They believe falsely that cholesterol caused heart disease. And so they said, you got to give up eggs, give up red meat, become a vegetarian, eat everything, soybeans and oils and all that kind of stuff. And within 2 years' time, everybody's getting Alzheimer's disease. Now they've been getting dementia for all the years, but this is different. At autopsy, it's a totally different disease than all these other types of dementias. And so when they get on statin drugs, and you get rid of eggs and all these other nutrients, guess what? You're going to get Alzheimer's disease. You're going to get ED. Oh, I forgot one thing. You also need to take for dementia. You need to throw in, and I did this for Ray, the ultimate daily class tablets, 3 of those twice a day in case he had vascular dementia also, where you get plaque in the arteries of the brain. So anyway, in 3 days' time, after 8 years in a, drop dead, stiff, cold coma, okay, had not opened his eyes in 8 years, being fed through the G tube and also electrolytes through IV every day for 8 years. In 3 days of my program, he gets up and walks out of there.
Wow.
And it's okay. I do this thousands of times a month all over the world.
Wow.
Wow. Well, thank you for that. Let me just go to some of the people. Annalisa, thank you for being on the call. Do you have a question for Doc? And Carolyn, I'll get to you at the end because I know Carolyn has some great questions. Annalisa, unmute yourself. So I'll unmute you there. Unmute. Annalisa, welcome to the program. Go ahead.
Thank you. Well, I've been listening and it sounds like I need the bone pack. I just felt a little crunchy in my movements.
Yeah, healthy bone and joint pack. Yeah, healthy bone and joint pack, MSM, vitamin D3. Now, do you have any other issues? High blood pressure, diabetes, skin problems, eczema, dermatitis, ringing in the ears?
Nutrition absorption.
Well,
do
okay, you haven't absorbed. How do you know that? Did you get a hair analysis?
I always thought, well, I could tell I'm just not absorbing nutrients. My ileocecal valve was getting stuck. Mm-hmm. I always thought I could handle a little bit of gluten. So I was cheating a little bit here and there. And then I came to understand that the ileocecal valve was reflecting. I thought it was.
Did you have appendicitis? Do you have appendicitis?
No, but I did finally, I'm definitely off the gluten, pretty clean living. The only thing I'm doing that you probably disapprove of has been the oil.
Yeah, now you have to appreciate having gluten 1 day a week is like shooting yourself in the head with a copper jacketed 22 bullet instead of a 45. It's
someone called it a gut buster. As soon as I heard that term, I'm like, I don't want to bust my gut. So now I don't cheat, Now that I've heard that term. Do
you have any skin issues? Any eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, rosacea, any dry, itchy skin?
No.
Okay.
I mean, just like I said, I felt like, I was aging prematurely due to the non-absorption of nutrients.
Well, that's what gluten does. And so good. Very, very clever girl. Thank you.
Well, so what does she need to start with? The Healthy Bone and Start Pack, huh?
Yeah. How much do you weigh, Annalisa?
I'm like 105.7.
Okay. Well, I would go with one Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. Okay. I'd get 1 bottle of MSM. Take 3 of those MSM twice a day or 3 times a day for a total of 6 a day. Get the vitamin D3, take 3 of those twice a day. Again, the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, take a half a dose of everything at breakfast and dinner. Okay. And then I would also, let's see here. Let's just go with that. Now, if you don't have any other issues, just go with that.
Yeah. And you can get that by calling this number, 888-275-7755, by Vitality Health News, Longevity, and anyone else listening that you can just call and talk to a consultant there as well. So, yeah.
One more thing.
Yes.
Of course, I'd like better memory.
Okay. Well, then you need to add in the D-stress capsules, capital D like David, dash stress. Get 2 bottles of that a month, so you can take 3 of those twice a day. That's for brain metabolism and several of the dementias. You also need to take the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets. Will help you in case you have vascular dementia up there. Okay, little blocked arteries in your brain.
What causes vascular dementia? Is that still a
oils and fried foods, right? Because it doesn't matter if it's in your coronary arteries, your brain arteries, your kidney arteries. It's all the same, right? Doctors want you to believe the coronary arteries are the only ones that are blocked in your body when you have coronary artery disease. No, every artery in your body is blocked.
Right. All right. So
okay, thank you.
Why come back in 2 weeks and let's see how you're feeling. You get that right.
Okay.
Good to see
Thank
you.
you. Bye. Bye.
Talk to Sonia.
Whoa.
Sonia, you have a question
Yes.
here.
Hi, Doc. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Yeah, I have a couple of issues. I have
Okay.
some gum stuff, and I
What?
also have these. I think I got some bug bites on the beach, and now it's scarring and leaving a brown mark.
Okay,
And
let's back up here. Let's back up here.
Okay.
How old are you?
I'm 45.
How much do you weigh?
Probably now like 140.
Okay. Now, do you historically have any issues like high blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, kidney issues, asthma, bronchitis, tachycardia, fast heart rate?
Asthma.
Any? Okay, asthma. Okay. Do you have
And
children?
no, I've been known to have eczema here and there.
Okay. Yeah, those two are the classic signals that you have severe advanced gluten problems.
Okay.
Okay. And so you're already going to have irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease, diverticulitis, irritable bowel syndrome. You've got all that stuff going on because these nutrients that are necessary to prevent and reverse asthma, okay, and skin issues are very big, clumsy nutrients. And they're the first ones. That's why you see little kids with, they got eczema, little bitty kids, they got asthma, just like Pastor Creflo Dollar's daughter. She was born with a genetic form of asthma, okay? And we got her on a gluten-free diet and got her on the 90 essential nutrients. And in 2 weeks' time, she was cured after 12 years of moving towards death, okay? So this is gonna be a lifetime deal. In other words, you can't just do this to feel better and then you go back to your old bad ways. No, you gotta stay with this forever and you'll add 50 years to your life. But you do have to get on the 90 essential nutrients. I'd go with the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack.
Okay, Healthy Brain Heart Pack.
And you say you weigh 140?
Brain Health Pack, yeah.
Okay. I'd go with one Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. I'd also get another bottle of selenium, not any selenium, our selenium, because we have 5 other cofactors in there. And so if you just run to Walgreens and buy some selenium, you're not going to get the other 5 cofactors. So I want you to take 3 selenium twice a day. And in the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, I want you to take a dose of everything twice a day. Okay. You can't say there's so many things in here. I'm just going to take one of everything every day and this will last me 6 months. No, you have to take everything. Okay. Now I take 90 pills, tablets, and capsules twice a day, plus my juju twice a day. Okay. I've been doing it for 72 years now. Twice a day. I'm 81 years old and going on 72. Excuse me, 82. Going on 82. Okay. I have 72 years, and I have never been sick other than some injuries. You know, I had some construction site injuries and stuff like that, but other than that, I don't have diabetes. I don't have arthritis. I don't have memory problems. I don't have. Let's see. I did have a little cataract in my left eye, which I've arrested. In other words, it hasn't progressed in 25 years. Okay. And I don't have any kidney issues. I don't have any heart issues. I wrestled for the University of Missouri. I played football. I'm a boxer. I played rugby on the police team in South Africa for 2 years. I didn't speak English for 2 years when I was in South Africa. I had to speak Afrikaans, Zulu, and Matabele. It was fun. I was on the White Rhino Conservation Project.
Well, so Sonia, try that for start. Call that number. You have the number right for the.
Yeah, 877. Okay. Yeah.
So
can I ask one more question really quickly?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So, Doc, because I've been getting those weird bites, mostly when I go to the beach, is it something in my blood that's like attracting them? Because I used to never get them.
Okay, let's stop. Have you seen the bug bite you?
Oh, I can tell it. Well, you can tell.
No. Have you seen a bug bite you? You know, have you slapped him and he falls over dead?
No.
Okay. These are skin issues that go along with the asthma. These are the skin issues that go along with the bronchitis and the gut problems. These are all caused by the same. This kind of goes along with eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, rosacea, those kind of things. Okay. What you have might be called ichthyosis. Okay. It looks like scaly fish skin kind of thing, little patches. You can take a picture of it with your phone and send it to Alan, and he'll send it to me. I'll have a look at it.
Yeah.
You might be right.
But,
they're like brown, they're patches.
Yeah. Okay. So these aren't bug bites. Okay. You didn't know what else to call them, but see, these could be ichthyosis. These could be, again, a form of psoriasis. It goes along with asthma and gut problems.
Okay.
All gluten. Gluten alert, gluten alert, gluten alert.
Right. Are you eating any breads or gluten there, Sonia?
Of course, buddy.
Of course. Well, that's why you have to listen to Doc. That's where
Get off the gluten.
Okay.
Here's what I want you to do.
Yep.
I want you to box up all the gluten.
That's easy. I don't have a lot of.
I want you to box up all.
It's more like when I buy a cookie or something.
Okay. Well, if you have any of those left in the house, okay, I want you to box them up. I don't care if they're 50 years old. Box them all up with a beautiful ribbon and nice, holiday paper, and give it to your doctor with love.
That's funny.
I want all doctors to eat gluten 6 times a day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That is funny. Well, that's a good start for you. Can you report back? We're going to do the same thing in 2 weeks on this same Zoom line. Let me just, Eve, you have anything to say? If not, we'll go to Carolyn to wrap it up. Maybe Eve's just watching. Okay, Carolyn, you have some great questions there, and we'll wrap it up, Doc, because I know you're really busy. So, Carolyn, let me unmute you and go ahead. Just go ahead.
Carolyn, are you there?
Yes, Doc, I'm here. Now I wanted to hear you talk about ADHD and OCD. I don't think we've touched on that today.
Okay, well, ADD, autism, okay, OCD and all those kind of things, anxiety, panic attacks, they're all caused by nutritional deficiencies. Get off of gluten, get off of gluten, get off of gluten. That's why I was cured in 3 days.
Yeah.
See, back when I had 72 years ago, it was actually 80 years ago, okay, I had what would be called aggressive autism today. They didn't have a name for it back then. It was a new thing, okay? So you need to get rid of all the bad foods, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, butter, rye, oats, no sugar. I mean, drop dead, don't even say the word. And then you want to, how much do you weigh?
This is for a friend, and he's 170.
170, okay. He needs to get rid of all the bad foods. Then I want him to have 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, 1 per 100 pounds of body weight, and he weighs 170. So a full dose of everything in the healthy brain and heart packs at breakfast, again at dinner time. I want him to have the Synaptive, 2 bottles a month of Synaptive. He could take 3 of those twice a day. I want him to have the MSM. I want him to get 2 bottles a month of the MSM in case he's got some osteoporosis of the skull. And he may have things, okay, like ringing in the ears. You need to ask him that if he has ringing in the ears or balance problems and that kind of stuff. I want him also to have, in addition to the Synaptive, the de-stress capsules for metabolism of the brain, 3 of those twice a day. Ultimate Niacin Plus, 1 twice a day there. That's 1 bottle a month, Ultimate Niacin Plus. I want him to eat 3 eggs with each meal. Soft boiled, soft poached, soft yolks, soft scrambled in butter. Absolutely, he cannot eat eggs outside in restaurants because they put flour in them, particularly the scrambled eggs, they'll put flour in there, but he can make scrambled eggs at home in butter without putting flour in them, okay? And he needs them to rebuild the myelin in his brain, okay? And let's see here. I also want him to, I said the MSM, I want him to have also the glucogel, get 2 bottles of glucogel capsules, and he can take 5 of those 3 times a day, and it'll help rebuild the skull, his vertebrae, and all that kind of stuff. But all of these things, OCD, ADHD, autism, anxiety, panic attacks, aggressiveness, forgetfulness. If he has anything, if he does have some forgetfulness, I'd also throw in the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets in case he's got some vascular problems. okay, and not getting enough blood and oxygen into the brain. He can take 3 of those twice. He has 2 bottles a month. And then he's a guy, if he calls us or calls you, and then you can report on him every couple of weeks, because these are the guys, they turn around very quickly. They'll turn around very quickly if he follows the instructions very well.
Now, I had an additional question. A client asked me if the source of the glucosamine.
Carolyn, could you make this your last question, because the doc is running out of time?
Yes, yes. Client just called and asked if the glucosamine was of sulfate or HCl.
I'm not quite sure what you're asking me.
Well, she wanted to actually know the source of the glucosamine in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, if it is sulfate or HCl.
Oh, I'd have to read the label. I apologize. I got 5,000 products and I don't remember that detail. It should say on the label.
Thank you
had
so
a
much.
question about the eyes. Didn't you have an eye question there, Carolyn?
Well, it's a possibility that macular degeneration diagnosis is inaccurate for the gentleman who.
Yes. Let me tell you a macular degeneration story. It'll be a 2-minute story.
And then we have to.
Okay, then we have to go. This story goes back, gosh, it's got to be 30 years ago. And I apologize, it's the Marines going over me right now in a helicopter to go to the border. I live 5 minutes from the border. There's some illegals crossing the border right now. Sorry about the helicopter. Okay, at any rate, this was in Salt Lake City. I was lecturing to about 50 people. And the first question in the Q&A at the end of my lecture, this guy in the front row says, my mom has been legally blind for 6 years with macular degeneration. Is there anything you can do for her? I said, yeah, I can reverse that. Guy jumps up immediately in the back of the room and says, Wallach, you're a GD liar. I said, what do you mean? He says, you're a liar. I'm an eye surgeon, medical doctor, and I diagnose macular degeneration, people who are blind all the time, and there's no way you can reverse that. I said, well, let's have a little wager. Excuse me. Let's have a little wager. And he says, okay. He says, what do you want? And I said, okay. If I win, and I'll tell you what the bet is in a second, but if I win, I want a very expensive case of French red wine. Okay. I also want you to take me out to the best steakhouse in Salt Lake City. Okay. And then I want you to stand up in public on top of the desk and scream out an apology to me to a room full of people. He says, you're on. I said, give me, it's a little bit of a lengthy piece here, so I'll make it short. I said, give me 25 of your patients that are legally blind. So he gave me the next day 27 charts from patients who were legally blind, 6, 8, 10 years, which he had diagnosed with macular degeneration. Excuse me. I made out the formula on a piece of paper. I gave it to their spouses or kids and talked to each one of them. And in some place where they live close together, I could get 5 people together and talk with them. Because I didn't trust this doctor to tell him what I would tell the doctor to tell him. So I told every one of them. So I knew they got the information, gave it to the families in writing. And oh yeah, the doctor also would have to pay for their supplements if they got well. He agreed to everything. To make a long story short, and remember, all these 27 people have been legally blind 6, 8, 10 years from, quote, macular degeneration, unquote. So they get on my program. And as God is my witness, in 90 days, 25 of them out of the 27 can read 20/20 without glasses. It took 2 weeks for the other 2 to be able to read 20/20 without glasses. And all they did was take the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and the Ultimate Daily Classic tablets, the de-stress capsules, our pollen burst for anti-inflammatory stuff, and some extra minerals. We didn't have MSM at that time, so we gave them extra minerals. And we rebuilt the skull, because what was happening was they actually had osteoporosis of the skull squeezing the optic nerve, which is the second cranial nerve, and they had ONA, optic nerve atrophy, which he mistakenly diagnosed as macular degeneration, which is a very common mistake.
It's great. Thank you, Doc, and thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, everyone, for watching here. Doc has 2 new products. Just mention them before we sign off, Doc.
Okay, the new DVD is called Is Your Doctor Killing You? ? And then it's a 2 CD set called Rare Earths Forbidden Cures. It goes along with the book Rare Earths Forbidden Cures. That was I consider that my best lecture, and it's extremely well documented, as is the new DVD. And so it's a 2 CD set, and in both cases there's volume price reductions. You know, if you get 10 or 20 or 50, you get significant price deductions. On if you just get one, you know, you pay the full price, okay, plus shipping. And so the 2 CD set, Rare Earths Forbidden Cures, the DVD, the DVD, the new book, it's all in your head. This was motivated by that bet that I had with that doctor, okay? Because I realized that there's 25 different diseases people get when they get osteoporosis of the skull. And doctors, they go to neurologists, they go to ear doctors, they put implants in your middle ears, and they do all these surgeries and everything. It's just a simple nutritional deficiency disease. And then, of course, because of the Black Lives Matter movement now, this book here, Black Gene Lies, and the CD that goes along with it was all paid for by Dr. Pastor Creflo Dollar from Atlanta, Georgia, because I saved not only his little 12-year-old baby girl, but also he gave me 15 of his seniors in his main church that had supposedly genetic diseases in Black people, and I cured all of them in about 2 weeks. And so that's when he bought the 10,000 copies of the book and the CD.
Well, that goes along with Doc's thesis. There are no, and I think you're probably right about this, there are no genetically inherited diseases.
That's correct.
That is a myth. So we're going to do this all again in 2 weeks. Get some more viewers, get some more questions. We're starting to gain momentum here, Doc. Thank you for your time. And if you want to hear about or anything Doc mentioned on this program, just go to Vital Health News. Call this number 888-275-7755. Ask questions, order product, talk about what you've heard today. Thank you. Thank you, Caroline, Jay, Sonia.
Thank
And
you.
everyone, and especially you, Doc, for 72 years of hard work.
Well, thank you. I'm also going to throw a thanks out to Ms. Linda for actually getting us connected.
Linda and Paul Andrews, of course. So
there you go.
Okay, this is Alan Steinfeld for New Realities. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today, and we'll see you in about 2 weeks, same Zoom room, and see everybody soon. Thanks, Doc.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Doc.
Thank you. Lieutenant Colonel Wallach, over and out.